Oh. Honestly, maybe we get back into gold puts. Let's see. Are we live? We're live on YouTube. We're live on Kick. Waiting to see if X will get caught up. We're live on X. We're live everywhere. Let's get people piled in. Let me also go on deafen in the Discord. All right. Market got murdered. Pretty bad. That was big. That was big. And we did a victory lap in the Discord. We were short, talking about how things look so bearish this morning. Many people fighting gravity, obvious weakness among big tech. And, we you can only fight it for so long. And for as much as people wanted to argue with me in comments or argue with me in spaces, we were literally only 0.35% off from the high before we got the puke. And now on this puke, you're breaking the wedge. And remember, we just talked about this earlier this week. Like, this is the easy money. We'll come test this EMA now. And then if you get the break of that, that's when you actually start hunting for this. Right? So at a moment like this, where you get this amount of capitulation in the market, this is where I take a pause. Like, I'm probably done trading for the day. We've made several bags. We actually bought Microsoft puts, and then we averaged into them onto that up move with lots of size. So I was max size on that one. It was short Google. We had Oracle calls that we actually sold right before the plummet. Completely lucky on that one. We actually got 2 big wins on Oracle before the plummet. We ended up getting stopped out of gold, but in profits overall. And even right now, like, this looks like it's failing the rejection here. That's a really weak move out of gold, honestly. I probably could have sat in that, but when the market gets big moves like that, anything not working in my portfolio is getting cut immediately. Indiscriminately, super quick out of that. Got no patience for stuff not working when the market gets big moves like this. And yeah, overall, what people are forgetting is this is bullish. This is pretty bullish. Even a pullback all the way to 6,000 is going to be bullish. It's going to be a really nice reset for this market. And for people who think that I got lucky because it's just news, I'm sorry. That's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. There is no reasonable argument to be made that I got lucky on my short positions because of the news. Simply just look at this. You have no confirmation of the continuation of the highs. There's no momentum confirmation. The TTM squeeze has not given bullish confirmation since late September. Okay, so this whole move higher was on thin ice. It's been on thin ice the entire time. And I mean, every day I've been watching the stock heat map, and it's been clearly thin ice. One sector would move, but not get a continuation. Another sector would move, but it's just retail jumping all around the place, trying to squeeze out a few percent here and there. But the big boys were trying to be patient, And I'll admit I was thinking, I was already in my head playing out the thesis of what if we don't pause? What if we go for the 3.618? But we never got to that point. It never, we were hovering so close around my around my target that we never even got to the point to try and play that out, to try and play out how we would react to a breakout to the upside. So this right now is full blown bearish, and I don't give a shit what the news is. I never give a shit what the news is. We told you what the April lows were going to be in December of 2024. We didn't know what the news was going to be. It's all on the chart. All right. We just follow the chart. If you don't believe me, by the way, that I called that in December, it's on YouTube. You can go watch it. I did a whole YouTube video and I told you exactly. I actually called the bottom by about 50 points on the SPIX on that YouTube video. So you can, I mean, we've done that time and time again. I called the Bitcoin high, called the Bitcoin low. I actually made fun of everyone at the Bitcoin low. It's my favorite thing to do. When sentiment gets one-sided, to then start making fun of everyone who doesn't have the self-awareness to look around and say, wait, is everyone on the same trade? Is everyone on the same side? When gold hits 4,000 and no one thinks, maybe I should take in some profits. You know? And it's just amateur traders that don't know what it feels like to be up a massive amount and then give it all back. You know? You got to be locking in some profits, especially when you hit major targets like that. If you don't, you're just a fucking idiot. You know, it's not hard. It's not hard to not be a complete fucking idiot. And if you want to be a good trader, that's really the first step to being good, is understanding how to not make bad moves. Understanding when you need to pull back on your positions. You know, if you're max long into this and you weren't an investor, I mean, even if you're an investor, if you're not selling into this stuff, taking some profits minorly, knowing that you'll get cheaper prices, for sure get cheaper prices, I'm sorry, you're a moron. There's no other way to say it. There'll be lots of people I know there's lots of professionals who are required to network with people and be super nice and kiss your ass. And they can't call people idiots. And I'm sorry, I'm here to make money, and making money is the only thing I give a shit about. Okay, you know. So if you, and it's not that hard to say, wow, there's a bunch of idiots posting massive screenshots of profits on the internet. Maybe I should take some risk off. Hey, SPY hasn't confirmed the continuation of this rally in almost a month. Maybe I should take some risk off. Maybe, since all the major tech companies except NVIDIA don't look bullish, maybe that means that SPY's running on its last legs and I should take some risk off and look for a dip. It ain't that fucking hard to use your head and use your eyes and just look at this. I mean, look at what Bitcoin even did here when it tests the high. What have I been saying about this? You touch the high, give it up. Touch the high, give it up. Touch the high, give it up. That's not bullish. That's not follow through. Where's my volume confirmation even into this? My relative volume is very mediocre into this. Okay, that's not where I get excited. That looks pitiful. Ethereum got the breakout, and the breakout failed, so we got out of Dodge. We said, okay, we're pulling out of that. We tested the waters to see how it feels with some size. It failed. We got out. All right. And, you know, if you stuck through that, hoping it would go back up because frou magic dust, you're being a dumbass. Real simple, guys. So right here, I'm not doing shit. We locked in lots of great profits. I made about 2 months worth of gains in less than an hour. My emotions are through the roof. I'm super euphoric right now, so I don't want to touch shit. Okay, I've locked in sizable profits, and here is where I just chill out a bit. Okay, you know, there's no need for me to collect pennies in front of this. We caught most of the moves of the downside. We actually caught the full move on Microsoft with a really nice timing of that one. That was my largest short position. Which, by the way, I mean, we can just run through how these still look very bearish. Microsoft hasn't even hit its trend line here. And the RSI is just not getting bearish here. So it's probably got a much bigger leg to the downside. It looks like the weekly and the daily are going to break somewhat in tandem. And that's actually the big downside move. Not what happened today. What happened today is nothing. The bigger downside move comes when these cross in tandem and you break this massive trend line right here. I'd watch this like a hawk. Google just now broke the trend line. So I'd be looking at 230 to come, and then below that, look for the 220. Really simple. Just following the fib levels there. By the way, you know, I actually should probably sell some Google calls now I think about it. I will on a bounce. If not, I'll just take the pen and it's fine. We have Google. We bought Google in the Discord around 140. So we're up pretty huge right here earlier this year, and we haven't touched those shares. We haven't done anything with them. We've sold some calls here and there against it, but that's it. But this, probably want to let this one sit. Carvana is another name. This is one, this actually even now looks really tempting to take a short position right here because this looks so weak. It looks incredible. I mean, this is a pretty major break, and you've already broken the EMAs, but you're pretty extended from this bearishness here. So, I mean, honestly, what I would be looking from this exact moment in the market is let's back test. Let's get a nice back test of this level. That maybe comes Tuesday next week. Let's get a little miniature up move and kind of just confirm that there's still sellers. But I mean, this is a full unwinding of positions. So all that momentum that was building up on itself that kept giving these gamma squeezes in the morning, these morning pops, all that's now been unwound. So, you know, you've now freed up a lot more movement in the market, which is great for traders. You know, I'm sorry, but people are mad at me wanting to dip. But if you're a trader, you want some real fucking moves in this market. And the more this thing coils up and doesn't give, it's like the market finally sighed. You know, it was like it was holding its breath for 3 weeks now. And it finally got to exhale. That's what this move is. This move is going to free up price action, and trading is going to get a lot better here. So it's what I love to see, you know. And we'll be looking probably to play some even these bounces back up just so you get a quick check if we're going to get a continuation here. Because nothing's written in stone. You know, even here, it looks like my thesis is playing out to the dime, but I'm not going to load like 6,000 puts on SPIX for December here with size. I'm going to just play this a little bit more short term. We actually did buy some swings, but then they made too much too fast. So I actually bought some weeklies as soon as this broke here, locked in 100% in like 2 minutes. And then us swungs, rolled that into a swing, into a pretty large swing, and that made 20% in like a minute. So I went ahead and just took that because I think it's just too far extended here in this moment. So I need to let it settle a bit. But everything points towards going lower for now. But I think it's just a good moment to just not do anything here. Everything got hammered. An interesting name that's catching a bounce here is Spotify, but Spotify still looks extremely weak to me. It might just be trying to fight it on the day. But honestly, you're just testing the bearish EMA there. You got to do a lot more before it actually looks bullish. Hems went right to the bottom of that wedge. Watch this one. Because this was starting to set up a really, really nice... I've been watching this wedge for a minute. If it breaks the wedge, I'm going to sell some covered calls. That weekly was trying to flip to the upside and then just wrecked that setup for Hibbs. Now it's just completely gone. It's probably going to break the bottom of that wedge now. Yeah, this is probably about to roll over and confirm it. Yeah, I'm not going to sell calls yet. I'll wait for it to actually break, but I'm going to set alert. Make sure I set that alert on the right line. I'll set an alert there because if that breaks, I'm probably going to sell some covered calls on it. ARM got hammered. We had some NBIS calls this morning, actually. Those zero DTEs, they wrote the premiums on them, but I only took a lot of sizing, so I was in profits for a moment. Moment didn't last very long. Oh my gosh, ETHA. Like, this is going to be a huge buy for me in the end of the year, eventually. Not now. I tried it a few times with Ethereum. This is actually testing. There's like a new trend line like right here. That's probably what we need to watch next. And see how that reacts. And we can delete that. It was using alert. Yeah, just get rid of it. So that's a failed breakout. Let's see if we can come test the bottom of this, which is basically at the top of the larger trend here. So it's really, really strong if this can continue to be resistance here, or support rather. It's resistance here and here. It's support here. And we want to see it be support again. Bouncing is good. Bouncing is really good. You know, this 15 EMAs actually have done a really good job of coming down with the market. Do I not have a... What? 1 second. Let's see if we can fix this. Why is it even doing that? I'm not even sure why the chart is cut off. All right, there we go. All right, now let's see if there's any questions here or any tickers. I don't see anything. Nothing on X, nothing on YouTube. Nothing on there. White House says layoffs have begun. Wow, they really wanted to drop a bunch of bearish headlines here. All right, so what Trump said about trying to get in, what was the exact word he used? Hostile, I believe. You know, in my opinion, a nothing burger. Of course they did. Honestly, they hold a lot of cards, and they're set up nicely to battle this out. Let's actually delete a bunch of this shit out of the Discord. So does this mean there's going to be more intentions? Possibly. And so could this lead to it could be a huge sentiment shift where the market starts caring about the tariff conversations. The market so far has been like everything's fine. Trump's making deals, even though technically on paper, there's a lot of deals written out. There's not a lot of deals that have been finalized. In fact, I don't think there's hardly any deals that have actually been finalized. So this could be the turn in that sentiment that leads to the continuation of the sell-off. You know, maybe the government does a bunch of layoffs and they're, you know, a substantial part of the GDP, and that causes a continuation of weakness. And then the Fed will come in and do some more rate cuts. We'll kick up some QE, and nothing will stop this train higher. Nothing's going to stop this train higher. All right. And I know I keep saying this over and over. I've been saying this for 3 weeks now because everyone's been calling me a perma bear. I think we go higher. Even if we go down to 6,000, I think we go 7,500, maybe even higher than that afterwards. But market moves in waves. And if you fight that and you don't know how to look for confirmations of continuations of high, and you don't know how to hunt for those trends, then you're going to get blown up every time this happens. How many people that run Discords and run trade groups gave back a month's worth of gains today on that fucking move because they kept buying every dip. Because on the market open, they saw the pre-market break, and they said, "Oh, I better hop into SPY." You know, they saw the double top on the pre-market break, and they freaking load up, and they're like, "Oh, we're more all-time highs. Here they come." Not looking at the weakness in Google, not looking at the obvious weakness in Microsoft, the weakness in Meta, the weakness in Apple. They were just looking at NVIDIA and NBIS. Even ARM was pretty weak today, though. You know, and they got blinders on. Not realizing the market's been weak for literally 3 weeks, and you can only have that persistent weakness that doesn't get resolved through a slow unwinding profit taking, or through a actually breakout on the top, and then new buyers come in and push to new highs rather than just the churning that we've seen. That's what they mean by froth. It's just churning of existing money in different sectors that kind of keep things afloat. New money's haven't been coming in to a substantial degree. So that's what they mean when they say it very frothy market. Frothy like my morning espresso. But right now, this is a victory lap. Let me see. Where do I see? My gosh, almost no viewers today. Tons of viewers yesterday. Man, this what this. we had like 200 viewers yesterday, and today across the socials, we got 27. This is exactly what I'm fucking talking about. This is what's exciting. This is what most people should have been waiting for a while. Was for something to crack the obvious weakness that we've been seeing. Didn't know what it would be. All I know is looking at the chart, I can see it's coming. And everyone who didn't, I'm sorry, fucking retarded. I got too energized right there. I shouldn't have said that, but it's okay. It's still funny. Yeah, so I mean, I don't really have much comments about anything else other than Adobe Bulls. I'm happy to see them get slaughtered here after getting gaslit about that. Oh, jeez, man. I got something in my eye. Do I want to quit the stream here? I don't think I really have anything. I think I'm just getting repetitive here. This is good for bulls. Gold might still be a good short here, honestly. I'd give it time. It's kind of this inside move. You probably just want to wait till you can see if you can actually break these lows, and then just come in with some pretty aggressively on that. Chase some momentum. There's no real reason to get in front of that. NBIS fine. Oscar's a piece of a POS stock. Honestly, this continuation of the sell-off, I actually had to cut this one for a loss this morning because I kept trying with tight stops. A major key levels on the way down here because I mean the 2 days broken now and the daily's broken now, but it wasn't this morning. I was trying it at the bottom of this EMA to see if we could get a continuation because the monthly here on this one still looks really good. So November, December, this will be a big name to watch. It'll probably get a really nice move. Same with like IWM. Small caps are about to go freaking crazy. You know, like this monthly's not going to break on that breakout. I need pullback here. Like I would love to see a pullback. Let's see. Why is this line drawn so poorly? You know, even a pullback to this would be really, really nice. It probably goes deeper, but even if you come to 222 and you just form another cup here, I mean, that setup is gorgeous. But IWM's going to be bullish. You know, Google's going to be a buy. Apple will eventually be a buy. It won't be something I buy, but it will be. It will go up. Microsoft will eventually be a buy again. Tesla is going to be a huge buy. Can't believe that thing hit 480 again. Is that a double top? No, that's close. Honestly, Tesla's probably the best short on the market right now. No, it's not giving confirmations. Not in the way that Microsoft is. Amazon breaking back down. Now the daily's confirming with the weekly that this is going lower. The monthly even here is weak on Amazon. That's something to really be concerned about. That's different from Microsoft, where monthly actually flipped in the super bullish here, which tells me greater trends definitely still long. Same with Google. Like we had a breakdown for pretty much all of 2024 and most of 2025 that finally reversed here. So the greater trend is still definitely is now not just bullish, it's mega long. You know, that's why my target for the end of the year is still so high, even though I've been bearish right here in this moment because of this weakness and just trading the ways of the market. So I believe NVIDIA definitely is as well. Yeah, NVIDIA is still crazy bullish here. Not a great momentum confirmation here on the monthly, so you might be getting close to the all-time high, which is probably peak bubble for NVIDIA. But that's a monthly chart, remember? That could come like late 2026, early 2027, the high, before the everything bubble pops. Which even on this down move, I've been kind of arguing that out in my head, whether I believe that or if I don't. Because I can go back and forth. I can create a pretty strong argument either way. I don't really have a super strong conviction on it. It's pretty easy to say that everything's a bubble. I do wonder if the debasement trade is so strong, like what we're seeing in Google, or gold rather, not Google. If all of this is just a revaluation of the true prices of everything after the depreciation of the dollar. It's not really depreciation, it's a debasement. Actually, it's pretty important to see what DXY did on that move. Okay, it's not super major. It's just a revisit of the trend. It's still bullish. Dollar wrecking ball is still a thing here. Let's take a look at VIX real quick. So we hit 20 on that. So we came into 22 and we're settling around 20. Get ready, guys. Get ready. If this settles at all, I bet on 30. You know, I don't think that's the only headline we're going to get. I think we see VIX at 30 before we see VIX at 13. That's what I'd be bet on. Put it on Kalashi. Kalashi? What's the name of that betting app? Kalshi. Wow, what a pump on MP with that China headline. Wow, MP really soaking up all the money. CLF is honestly just, I cut this, you know, when that first plunge happened, I was actually long on Netflix. And I mean, even right here, it's hard to argue against a Netflix long. The daily's actually about to flip bullish. I mean, that's how you argue against it. But for me, I don't need Confluence to take a trade. I would just play smaller because we actually are just now breaking bearish on the weekly. But that looks fine for short term. I wouldn't buy the dip here. I'd revisit it next week. But I cut that actually. I cut Oracle. We actually took profits on Oracle. I shared that one this morning. We took like 50% on a short term position on a lotto. And then when it confirmed through the break, we actually bought weeklies, and then we actually sold the high on the weeklies. The reason I did that, by the way, I call luck on some of this stuff, but sometimes it's just really just like me doing my solid practice here. We talked about this earlier this week, and it'll be in our training course. Sorry, I was just thinking about the fact that I should probably stop teaching so much because I should probably just make people take the course. But we took profits on this because of how extended it was in the 15, how extended it was from the EMA. Okay. And I thought, it looks good. Nice 20%, easy move. Made it really quick too. Made it in an hour. I looked at how much profits I had made in 1 hour, and I was like, that looks good. And I took it. Okay. So, because I know we're going to do a retrace, and then I'll reevaluate from there. Well, I got lucky because we actually sold the top, and then literally 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds later, the market puked. I hope Discord members actually got the exit, because luckily I don't have to type anything out in our Discord because it's all automated through Schwab's API. So when I take a trade, instantaneously it's shared in the Discord, because we operate with 150,000% transparency. It's impossible for me to hide literally anything. Besides, even on the small account challenge, I'm literally sharing what the positions are, what the account total is, what are our year-to-date profits. So there's also no hiding that at all either. So we're up about 140% on the small account, which really isn't that good because that's about 2.5 months worth. So that's really not that great for me in a small account. This has been a pretty slow small account challenge. Considering we didn't start with like just $100. If I started with just $100, first of all, actually that would still be bad. 140%, still really trash. But should be easier to get the small account. We just had like stagnation for 3 weeks because I was hunting for this downside moves and we weren't getting them. And then the small account, I actually didn't have that massive Microsoft position that I had on the main account. Although I was sized pretty nicely. I mean, we made $249 in the small account on Microsoft today, which is great. We also made some really good money on EVX. That's another one that I cut, but I probably just could have left on. I mean, honestly, yeah, I cut this because it was so far extended from the EMA, and right here is actually, I wouldn't buy it because the 15-minute has rolled over, and usually when that occurs, it means the trend for the day is done. Like you can see, like we are staying that consistently oversold in the 15-minute, but the TTM isn't rolling over yet. So we talked about this earlier this week, but when the TTM, if this has started to turn this like dark red here, and we got 2 full bars on the 15-minute that confirmed, I would say, okay, low for the day is probably in. But if I have like a lotto position that I'm still rolling with, I would keep it on right here. Personally, sitting pretty and looking to do the least. All right, I'm going to go. I got to take out my contact because my eye is literally about to kill itself. Can I say that? I don't think I can. This isn't TikTok. It's fine. We're on X. YouTube might get mad, but it's fine. Have a great day, guys. This is not the time to panic. By the way, that's the whole reason I went live. It wasn't just to talk shit, be a dick. It was to say that this isn't where you panic. This is where you plot. You get your hands out, and you're like, oh, we freed up some movement. Oh, look at that. We've done a 300% ATR move on SPY. What that does is that frees up more movement for next week, which means trading is going to be fucking amazing. Okay? All right? So this is where you plot. This is where you get excited because now we can make some big money. All right? This is where it gets easy. As long as you aren't some perma-bear dipshit or bull dipshit. Bull. Perma-bears will have their day in the sun. Not a perma-day. Perma-bear. Or perma-bull. Kind of a perma-bull. Doesn't fucking matter. Rambling too long. We're done. Have a great day. God bless.